Hey guys, it's Michelle here with another episode of My Cup of America. And today I am super excited to speak with John from Perfect Shelving Solutions right here in Central Florida. So John, thank you so much for taking some time to chat with me today and tell everybody a little bit about your business and what it is that you do.
My business reaches out to folks who are operating box trucks, panel trucks, enclosed trailers, moving freight, or any kind of merchandise or product by road. The idea is a portable shelving system made from aluminum that can be installed and removed from a cargo space, usually a mobile cargo space, very easily within 5 minutes. For example, budget rental trucks or U-Haul rental trucks have the horizontal railing, what they call cargo rails or whatever. Anyway, the shelving attaches to those rails and it's secured in the vehicle. It can fold up and it can be removed and installed in minutes. And it's got 4 legs, extremely strong, carries up to, they'll hold up to, I've had 2,000 pounds on them. I don't know if it'd be a good idea to drive around with 2,000 pounds on them, but they will hold it.
And if it's
a great product.
Weight too, correct?
I'm sorry?
If it's aluminum, it's lightweight too, correct?
Right. It's light. It's light and very strong.
Okay.
Which is the advantage of aluminum.
So how did you get into this? What led you to create this business?
I'm employed with one of the biggest parcel companies in the world, UPS, and have been there for about 36 years. And about 12 years ago, the idea came to me while preparing rental trucks for service during peak season. Peak season, of course, is Christmas. And every Christmas season, UPS rents thousands of these rental trucks, the standard U-Hauls, the standard budget 16-foot box trucks. Well, the drivers really hate using them because there's no shelving systems in them. Mm-hmm. And makes their job extremely difficult delivering packages that are scattered on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
So the idea came from the need that UPS had for something like that. And I hired a part-time supervisor who is also a college student at UCF for engineering to draw up the plans. I drew it up on a piece of paper and gave the
plans. The best ideas come up on a napkin, don't they?
Yeah, it was during my lunch hour and I drew it up. Gave it to this friend of mine at work who is a student. And she used it for a project at UCF. It got a grade and I got some plans out of it, So then I took the plans to a fabricator near where I lived in Lake County. And the fabricator built the prototype for me, which I still have in the garage. And that's where it began.
Wow. Yeah, some of the best ideas you'll hear people say, well, yeah, my buddy and I, we were sitting there and having drinks or whatever, and everything just went down on a napkin. And that's where some of the greatest businesses start, with something like that. So that's pretty cool.
What's interesting is I was actually dozing off kind of, I used to work nights at the time this came to be. And I was taking a little nap during lunch. And it was like a dream, it was just a quick little dream. And I woke up and I wrote it down immediately. That's how it really began. It was just a dream type thought. Wow. And one thing led to another. I mean, there was a lot to it. We went through trial and error, what do they call it? R&D, research and development processes. I had to reach out to aluminum producers to get molds and dies made for the shelving pans. And, there's a lot. And then we invested everything that we own in a patent. That involved selling everything we owned except my tools, the house, and we moved in with Mary's sister for about a year to help pay for the patent. Wow. So there was a huge commitment, it's one of those stories that people talk about after they've made their millions. Now we haven't made our millions and it's not really something that I'm eager to do, but it is successful so far. And my primary customer is FedEx contract drivers.
Nice.
We sell to them.
Very nice. So what's the process like obviously you do custom size because all the trucks and stuff are different size. So
That's
you would
correct.
take the order and you would match up the specs. So basically it's a custom made unit.
I do custom sizing for vehicles that require that.
Okay.
But I have discovered that I have found that one particular size will fit most of the box trucks and panel trucks.
Okay.
So that's primarily, and the only thing that we changed is the lengths. Like our largest one is 12 foot long. Then we step down to 10, 8, 6, and 4 footers.
Okay.
We can put casters on them, the smaller ones, so that it has three features. One is portable, two is on casters, three it folds up. So
Okay.
it's absolutely universal type shelving system.
All right. Very cool. So from when you started this, I mean, like you mentioned, a lot of personal sacrifices have gone into this. What do you think was the biggest struggle? Was there a point where you were just like, maybe this is a bad idea and we should just stop, and now you're glad you didn't?
There was never a moment where I thought it was a bad idea, because I would always reassure myself by going back into the internet and searching for something similar. And there just wasn't anything. There's not a portable aluminum shelving system that can just go into a truck or trailer.
Right.
So that's what I would do to make myself reassured. The most difficult part of the whole process was getting the patent.
Yeah, that
It,
sounds like it. That sounds like it's quite an ordeal.
it took 7 applications.
Wow.
It means it took 7 times of asking the patent office for a patent. And each time you submit an application, there's a lot of money involved. So it took 7 times. And there was one point where the lawyer, like it was the fifth time, the lawyer said to me, he says, "John, this may not be patentable." And when he said that, I remember feeling that sense of failure, that sense of
Kind of like defeat.
defeat. I think that's the word I'm looking for, defeated. And I hung up with him, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. I got a little angry, and I said, excuse me, I just said, this is bull crap. It's not. It doesn't exist. It is possible.
Right.
And in my mind, this is what I'm saying to myself. We just got to find a way. And I have a motto that I always say to myself: there's always a way.
Yeah.
Always a way. I've taught that to my children. So I called the lawyer back and I said, "Look, man, it doesn't exist, so it is patentable." And then I said to him, and I got kind of mouthy, and I said, "It's your job to figure out how to get it patented." And I said, "That's all there is to it." And he said, "Okay." And then he suggested, and I don't know why he didn't suggest this earlier. It could be money or whatever. You know how it is with lawyers. It's all about money. He says to me, I could arrange a meeting with the patent office personnel, staff. And he says that way they can communicate to me what they need, what exactly they need in the language. And I said to him, well, okay, well, that sounds like a good idea. How much more does that cost? There's always a cost, So anyway, I agreed to it. And that's when everything came together. It was just 2 more applications after that, and it was all about the language. It was just a language problem. It's always about language.
Oh yeah, when you get anything involved legally, it's all, one little word can just set things off. That's
correct.
amazing.
And the whole experience was it was an extreme learning experience. And I realized, because people say, "Oh, John, you better do something. Somebody's going to steal your idea, I kept hearing this over and over and over, and you get paranoid, Well, after the whole experience of how hard and difficult it was to get a patent, it's virtually impossible for somebody to steal it now.
Right.
For them to steal the idea, they're going to have to go the same process I went through.
Right.
It was not easy.
Right.
And plus, it's such a basic design that there's no real other way to make it more efficient that I can see. It's just very basic.
So is it something that is more so for commercial companies, or is there a place for, individuals like myself to use it?
If individuals, I've had some customers who needed a foldable shelving system for their toy hauler or RV, or let's see, a high school bought some for transporting instruments and band related
Yeah.
stuff. I've sold to construction companies. I've sold to just just a variety of people, but mostly it goes towards commercial industry related
Okay.
needs. I sell I'd say 80% of what I sell goes to the FedEx contract drivers, because those guys, they have communication platforms where they share ideas with one another. So it's a word of mouth with them. And in fact, UPS rejected the idea, went to their corporate division. For whatever reason, they rejected it. It's unimportant why, but FedEx loved it, and the contract drivers. So I worked with them to do R&D. I worked with a specific driver owner of some vehicles, and he helped me with R&D. Says, I gave him one and said, okay, tell me what improvements the unit may need to make it work better, and he would tell me, and we worked together and worked out all the bugs, and it was great.
That's awesome. So what would your advice be to people who have an idea, but maybe they're scared to pursue it, or they're not really sure how to even get started? What would be your words of wisdom?
There's a lot to be said in this question, and it's a question that could only be answered at this point, at this stage. This question can't be asked to someone who went to college and learned through the books how to start a business. Personally, I have an obsessive personality, and when I have an idea, and I've had other ideas and acted on them. I built really cool custom pool tables for a while, and it was starting to go and work, but the economy took a nosedive in 2002 or whatever and killed that business. I had other ideas where I started a mobile lawnmower repair service, and I just always had ideas. Anyway, these ideas come to me, and it's like I can't stop thinking about them until I act on them.
Right.
I don't know, I don't know if everybody who starts a business has that kind of thing. I mean, you told me before we started this that you had an idea about what you're doing now, and it made sense to you, so you were compelled to do it. It's the same thing with me. I was compelled from that moment where I had the dream while taking a nap. I was compelled, because then when I woke up, I thought, man, this would work. I couldn't see a reason why it wouldn't work. And that's the first thing you do is look for all the reasons. Okay. If I was talking to somebody who wanted to get started on something, and I have, I've had people come to me with, hey, John, I got an idea, what do you think, and how would I begin? I remember saying to them, I said, well, for one thing, the first thing you got to do is look for reasons why it won't work and be honest with yourself.
Right.
That's the big thing. You got to be honest with yourself, because it's very easy to become disillusioned and fill yourself with false hope about something that is not going to work. And people do that. I've done it. But I'm a person who works with tools. I love tools. Love to use tools. I love to learn how to use tools, and I use the tools to do everything that I do. And I make my own tools. I had to make tools to build these shelving systems, and that's why nobody else can build them.
Right.
Because if you don't have the right tool to build them, you can't do it. So going back to the question, once you know that it is a good product and that will sell, then you have to go to another frame of mind and recognize how difficult it's going to be. And that's something that nobody can predict. I had no idea how difficult it was going to be. I just couldn't stop. And there was a time where Mary and I sat down before we sold everything we owned, and we looked at each other and said, okay, this is about how much it's going to cost for the patent. We don't have the money. This is our option: sell everything we own and live with your sister. Do we want to do this? And we looked at each other, and she said yes. And it was really up to Mary. She believed in it. And I said, okay, then that's what we're going to do. And we did that.
Yeah, that makes,
And I don't regret it at all.
that's good. Yeah, it makes a world of difference when you've got that support system, that shares your vision and your dream. And
Absolutely.
that makes all the difference in the world with that. I know my husband, whatever crazy idea I come up with, he's like, sure, let's do it. So yeah, there's been some good ones. There's been some.
I don't want to say that. I don't want to say Mary's agreeing to everything I've done. I have cost us a lot of money. The pool table thing cost us a lot of money, but it was a good idea. It's just, everybody lost money at that time.
But I think that any business owner, self-startup will tell you that, this wasn't their first idea. They tried and failed. And, it takes getting that right thing. And it's about following your dreams, but following your passion. When it comes to starting a business, gotta be something you're passionate about, so.
In my case, it was more of an obsession. I have an obsessive personality. Fortunately, it's towards things that are good, but I couldn't let it go.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing you didn't, because look where you're at now. So
the hope is, or the goal is, to retire from UPS and let it subsidize my retirement. And, it gives me something to do. I'm not really looking for, building this business to be a something out of control, that's too big. I really don't want that. I just want to build them for people and stay in control of how much work that I do. I'm too old now. I don't have that same energy level that I had. I worked, when we were beginning this process for years, I worked 7 days a week, all day long. And I would get up, work all day.
More, is it?
Go to bed. And that's what I would do.
Yeah.
And I can't do that no more.
Yeah, it gets tough. I'll tell you what, this getting old is not for sissies. That's for sure. Well, John, tell our listeners, where can they find your products? What's your website? How can they find you?
We are on YouTube. I have, I don't know, probably 10 or 12 videos on YouTube describing the product and showing how it's made and proving it. We have a website, prfshelving.com.
Okay.
P as in Paul, R as in Robert, F as in Frank, shelving.com, or perfectshelvingsolutions.com. I have email, which is info, INFO, at prfshelving.com.
Okay.
I think that's it. I'm not sure if Mary's got us on. I think we're on Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff too, but I don't have anything to do with that.
Excellent. Well, I'll get those and make sure that I'm in the show notes and everything here. And my dogs are participating in this interview today. So for our listeners, that's just the dogs back there having a party. So, they'll see. Look how well behaved.
See mine?
Yep.
She's with me everywhere I go. If I'm out building shelves, she's out there under my feet. I have to be careful because when I'm welding, she'll sit there and stare at the weld.
Oh no.
I'm worried she's going to go blind.
Yeah, these two, they see the neighbor dogs out the window, so they're having a little bit of a fit. So, John, I'd like to end my interviews, and I always ask my guests this: what is one quote that you resonate with that really means a lot to you?
A quote? Oh my God, I don't really have a quote from any particular writer. I have my own.
That's okay. That's your original.
I kind of live by. It goes like this. And hopefully I don't screw it up, but time does not exist for those who do what it's time to do without resistance.
Oh, no.
Time does not exist for those who do what it's time to do without resistance. That includes things that you don't want to do and things that you do want to do. So time doesn't exist for me for the most part because I try to go with the flow of nature of life. And sometimes it's not pleasant, and most times it is so.
Yep. That's good. I really like that.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it.
So great. So, John, thank you so much for taking some time out and chatting with us and and listening to the dogs run around, they kind of added a little bit to this. So we'll make sure that we drop all your contact information in the show notes and in the video and everything. And hopefully that there's somebody out there who sees what you have and think that's the perfect solution for me. So
Yeah.
Excellent. So make sure everybody you tune in to My Cup of America. Make sure you follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and our YouTube channel and our website, mycupofamerica.com. So until next time, chat soon.